What is up, my friends? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm doing something a little bit different. On League of Legends YouTube channel, they have a making of Arcane, and the series is titled Bridging the Rift. And so here on the channel, I wanted to react to all of the parts. I think there's 5 parts. Today I'm going to be starting with part 1. It's titled I Only Dream in Risky. If you've been following my channel, you'll know that I didn't watch Arcane until shortly before season 2 came out. So I binged season 1 and then I went through season 2, and the show just absolutely blew my mind. It's up there now with Avatar: The Last Airbender, and I never thought that that was possible, frankly. But throughout the process of filming reactions, I got a lot of great comments from you guys, but somebody specifically, Mike Carl 1208, he's been following throughout the entire thing, and at a certain point, he gave me this big list of stuff to watch on YouTube regarding Arcane and League of Legends, and just diving further into all that stuff. And so I told him I want to get to that whenever I have the time, and I finally have the time, and I'm so excited. So Tootsie is here. I got the Tootsie cam all set up, so we are ready to go. We're about ready to have a good time. Be sure to leave me all your thoughts down in the comments regarding this Bridging the Rift series. And without further ado, let's dive in. I've never done a reaction for a docuseries or a documentary before, so I don't know how the edit is gonna shake out here, but we'll see what we can do. We'll see what happens, man. When you're going to change the world, don't ask for permission. I'm excited for this, man. I really am.
League, the thing is that you play these characters over and over and over. Hundreds, in some cases, thousands of hours people sit with these characters.
See, that's the thing that I'm most excited to learn about, just because going into Arcane, I knew nothing of League of Legends, and there's so many people out there that know everything about League of Legends. I don't know if I'm ever going to pick up the game because I feel like I might just get too obsessed, but it's just interesting to learn about this.
What do they eat? What is their normal life like? You know, what kind of families would they have?
Dang, dude.
Arcane was going to be the very first deep story expression of League of Legends. There's enough video games where the audience asks for a movie or a show for years and years and years, and then they make it, and then it sucks. And then guess what? People stop asking.
Yeah, exactly.
We were like, if we make something that isn't at least good, then we're really, really harming the League IP.
See, and that's what you want, man. I mean, that's what I'm saying about the live action of Avatar. You want to trust that these people love the source material. They love what they're doing. Otherwise, what's the worth, you know?
Uh-huh.
Hey.
Hey, how are you doing? I remember you showed me that we built...
Jeez, dude. So much work.
Going her face from looking more childish to you have that somewhere to pull up?
Yes. So when we first got the first rig of Jinx, the idea was to try to connect her somehow visually to what she was as a kid. Rounder face.
Wow.
We didn't want the typical crazy girl laughing around like the Joker and just making no sense. We really wanted to make her feel deranged and emotionally affected by...
That makes a lot of sense, man. Jinx's character was immediately appealing just because of her emotion and just how sweet she looked, at least. Maybe the personality wasn't that, you know what I mean? She had a lot going on inside, but it's just those eyes.
Still hey, I can do this, believe in me. I think we should never work on a project that doesn't offer us something personal to explore. I think for the story that we have, it's a story about family, it's a story about siblings that have a hard time forgiving each other. It's a world of technology kind of taking over and us feeling like we're losing control over it. I think that those are just things
very similar to these days.
About and care about, I think we want to also ask some questions that we think should be asked without necessarily giving you the answer, but at least asking hey, does a person, like Jinx deserve a second chance? Can a monster ever be forgiven?
Yes. Yes, they can.
We'll see, but I think it has potential.
Potential, bro. It's a smash hit. This show is a freaking smash hit. They created something unlike anything that I had ever seen. That's why I say it reminds me of ATLA. It's like that first time watching that show that kind of changes your life a bit.
I went out to LA. One of the things that I stumbled upon was a truly bare bones, desperate sounding Craigslist post for a video game startup. My first and consistent reaction to that was this company has no chance.
This is one of the few video games that I heard of over the last like 15 years of people just being completely immersed in it, completely addicted to it. I had friends, well, I guess not friends, friends who had relatives that like would not leave their house because they were so addicted to this game.
I think the reason that we focused on Jinx was because, I don't know, Jinx just always had this spirit at the company. Katie D'Souza did this, it wasn't a sketch, it was like a full concept of what she called Psycho Arsenal. It was not so different, honestly, from what Jinx looks like right now. You know, the long pigtail.
Cool.
Vi and Jinx were characters that Alex and I always really liked.
Bravo, sis.
Dang, dude.
Come on, shoot faster, just a little bit of energy.
Wow, man. So these are those cinematics that you're talking about. See, this was the stuff that I have been told about, and I've put off watching it because I wanted to do reactions, and so it's so exciting seeing like these cinematics. They look so dope.
We were just kind of talking, you know, like, man, how fun it would be to make something that's a bit bigger, you know, and the animation space and the story space, and to kind of embrace all these different strengths that the team had developed over the years. Animation, music.
Every child.
Man, this is incredible. So this team, they're just behind everything.
Warriors.
Wow.
I always thought that if there's any superpower that we had in the beginning to make Arcane a thing, it was whether or not we could really unleash the potential of Fortiche.
Yeah, you guys certainly did.
We do a mix of 2D and 3D. So you have a mix of style.
Wow. And they just mash all that together, huh?
How do you texturize something to look like a painting?
We paint.
That is just amazing, the freaking detail that goes into this. I can't imagine immersing your life into something like this. You truly would dream Arcane. You'd like dream these characters. If you were working on something like this all day, painting these characters every single day.
Most cartoony effects.
Wow.
I just found these tests that they would do where you go like, man, like this looks different. This doesn't look like the typical expensive Hollywood animation production. This just looks like, this looks very French.
That is interesting when they say it looks French. You know what I mean?
To be fair, the first answer when I went to the Riot leadership was like, I think we should make a TV show about our characters that is the highest budget ever spent on an animated series. It's gonna be great. The first answer was, no, get out of the office.
That was like a, oh crap. Like, Christian has showed up with those like bold ideas and bold asks before, you know, but this one was such a leap from sort of music video to like full animated show. It's so unbelievably daunting. And in the back of my mind, I'm just going, how am I gonna talk Christian out of this? Like, how am I gonna help him realize that like we're jumping the shark here?
Yeah.
We have something called the video game curse, which is very few games have adapted into film and television well.
Interesting. I feel like that is starting to change a bit. I just want to know how in the world they got through to Netflix.
You know, it was just a test of like, hey, like, can we even do animation where acting feels good?
All you had to do was run, Powder. Didn't we spend a bunch of time preparing you for this? You and I.
Jeez, dude.
I was going, I kind of hope this loses steam because
But that was the first test. That looked amazing.
it's like, I don't know how in the world we're gonna pull this off.
That's when I said, okay, could you give me like, I think it was like 65 grand or so.
Jeez, dude. How can you even be confident enough to ask for something like that? You'd have to really know exactly what you're going to use it on.
And there was this fight scene. It was sort of this animation test with Jace and Vi on a rooftop. It was so sick, just in terms of how the characters were expressed and how they came to life. Like all those little incremental tests they were just like, yeah, we need more of this.
Oh my goodness, dude. Unbelievable. See, that's one of the differences with Arcane 2. It's the fighting, man. It's the choreography that they're able to nail.
That I'm probably serious about this project. I said to them, well, I mean, you have concept art now for the characters, for environments, you have 3D models, you have animation test, you have material that we've had developed for the pilot. And I was like, are we gonna do this or not?
Wow.
To me, the stakes are really high because we want to be respectful of players' time and trust.
Yeah.
I'd for sure much rather not do a show than releasing something that's just okay.
They were all on board with that concept.
You just kind of have to, at some point, make that bet, otherwise it's only gonna be ever a theory.
Fortiche was 5 people. So we had to build a studio of now 200, 250, 300 people.
Dang. Dude, that's the thing though. Now Fortiche freaking exists at this level. And there's gonna be more of this. We're gonna get more of this. You know what I mean? Not necessarily Arcane or these characters, at least, Jinx and Vi. Maybe we see Jinx in the future, I really hope that we get a lot more of this because I'm obsessed with this universe.
I don't think he was realizing what he was getting into, but I think he was a fool. But the excitement he had when he was talking about the show made the difference to me.
Yeah, well, that's what passion does, man.
The experience isn't there and the resume isn't there. Like, that's precisely when it's worth jumping into the deep end of the pool.
Exactly. And that's how things used to get made, man. That's where George Lucas started, dude. Just with a camera and making creative stuff that ended up sticking. They didn't know what they were doing. Begins fall of 2016. I'm so curious how long it took to make this pilot. Oh my gosh. Wow. Holy cow, I just got goosebumps. "10 months. Oh my gosh, dude.
Basically, we had the pilot, wrapped up more or less. And now was the time to start working on the rest of the first season.
Well, how can you work on the rest of the first season if you don't have a buyer?
So yeah, at some point, there was a meeting on my calendar, and I went to Brian's office, and there was like a bunch of people in there.
He basically he called me and told me like, hey, I just talked to Brandon and like everyone.
It was basically like an intervention meeting.
Wow.
If we're like on the cusp of launching and we think it's not right, like we'll stop, we'll hold, we'll pivot, we'll cancel.
We wanted to make sure the story that players got lived up to their expectations.
Yeah.
If we couldn't do that, then we shouldn't do that.
The consensus was, you don't have the story yet, and it's not gonna work,
Wow. Really? Oh, is that... No, not the cliffhanger. Nice, dude. They built this documentary kind of like a, like a TV show. Sick. Okay. All right, man. Well, that was a lot of fun. It's also just a lot of fun to get back into the world of Arcane, something that I've been missing dearly. It's going to be a good time. I'm going to be going through each of these parts. Please let me know your thoughts down in the comments. What do you think about this series? What do you think about Arcane? Leave me any sort of comment on Arcane. I would love to discuss it with you guys. I love conversation here on the channel. But don't forget to hit that like button before you head out. And more than anything, keep up the good vibes, my friends. I'll see you in the next episode. Peace!